We're the Persians. You understand what I mean? I love the Persian Jews. They're like the most patriotic Jews on the face of the planet. They just are. But I'm not really talking about you. We're the ancient Persians. They're gone. We're the ancient Babylonians. Before the Persians. They're gone. Where's the Third Reich? They're gone. So I have a little message for the modern-day Nazis, overseas and abroad. We're not going anywhere. You are. You here, you've learned the lessons of history. You understand what's taking place in our own country. You see what's taking place in Israel. You see what's going on in Western Europe, in France, where the chief rabbi says, Jews, you have 10 years, you better get out. Or in London, or all throughout Europe. We've had a second crusade of the Islamists, which I separate from the Muslims, the Islamists. There's been a second crusade. It's revolution by immigration. It's happening in our own country, in our own colleges and universities. Now, we can sit back and pretend there's nothing we can do about it but talk to each other and wring our hands and post things on social media. That's all well and good. But if we don't change policies, it's over. It's over for the United States of America. I don't care if the people in the press agree or not. They are co-conspirators with everything that's taking place in this country right now. The fact of the matter is, you see, you hear, you have a brain, you read, you see what's going on, you know what's going on, or you wouldn't be here. Or you wouldn't be here. This is life and death. This is whether you want to have an America that has accepted Jews and everybody else, all minorities, because of this fantastic country founded on Judeo-Christian principles, because of our fantastic Declaration of Independence, because of our fantastic Constitution, which are under attack by the Marxist-Islamist alliance. Now, it's not asking too much to vote, which starts next week. But you got to do more. Use modern technology. Use the email and texting and phone calls. Get a hold of your neighbors. You saw these 3 young people here. You can have an impact. Tell your fellow Jews. Do you want to survive? Do you want to be able to go to synagogue? Do you want to be able to send your kids to whatever college you want? Because right now, those things are up in the air. One other quick thing, then I'll get off the stage here, which is this. I want to thank, that means get the hell off the stage. All right. I want to thank all the Gentiles, Christians, non-Christians, who support us, who support this country. And I want to thank you, and I want to get off the stage, because the greatest president in my lifetime is standing by to talk to you. God bless you.
Please welcome the head coach of Auburn University men's basketball team, Bruce Pearl.
I'm speaking after Mark Levin, the great one. That's like coaching after John Wooden at UCLA, right? You know, in coaching, sometimes we actually provide some advice to other coaches. Well, I've got some advice for an assistant coach up in Minnesota that would like to be our next vice president. Next time a reporter asks you your reaction to 6 Israelis being executed, don't walk away from them because you're afraid you're going to piss off some voters and lose the state of Michigan. As a coach, what we would do is we would tell them we were horrified, we were disgusted, and we're going to go hunt down those terrorists, and we're going to hold the people that are responsible for them, like Hamas, responsible. Governor Walz, you had an opportunity to do that, and you passed. And like many people here in this room, I'm concerned if you're vice president, you will do it again, and you will not stand with Israel. I'm concerned about that. Boker Tov, everybody. Boker Tov, RJC. Thank you, Matt Brooks. Thank you, Norm Coleman. Thank you for the leadership, for asking me to be here. I am not a politician. I'm not a reporter. I'm not in the media. I'm just a Jewish basketball coach from Auburn, Alabama. We live in the greatest country in the world when a Jewish basketball coach can be a basketball coach in Auburn, Alabama. Anybody can be anything. There are roadblocks and there are obstacles, but I am so incredibly grateful. I'd like to deliver my message to the young people this morning. The young people that are on these college campuses right now, scared, afraid of their identity, incapable of being able to defend Israel right now at this most challenging time. I'd like to speak to you. Look, war is hell. The death and the killing on both sides is horrific. Understand that. But here are some truths, and here are some realities. We cannot worry about the people that hate us. They've hated us for a long time. They're going to continue to hate us. We must defend ourselves from those that want to kill us and speak that way. That's the bottom line. But there are some that don't know, there's some that don't understand, and particularly for all of us, as I listen to Mark talk about that the time is now for us to particularly be able to speak into the undecided, the uninformed, and American Jewry. We've got a decision to make, a very, very important decision. So young people, here's your defense. Ask somebody that doesn't really know a couple questions. How many Jews and how many Arabs are there in the state of Israel right now? And the answer, about 6 million Jews and about 3 million Arabs. Ask them if they realize that over 50% of the healthcare workers in the state of Israel are Arab, not Jewish. Now that breaks down a few stereotypes, doesn't it, about the Jewish doctors in the room, right? Over 50%. Ask them if they understand that. There are Arab leaders in government, in business, in the judicial system, in the IDF that give their lives to be able to protect their country, the state of Israel right now. And these Israeli Arabs are living some of the best lives of Arabs anywhere around the world, and they do not want to leave. Don't tell me about apartheid. I don't want to hear it. When 12 Muslim Arab children were murdered on the playground playing soccer, it took that for the Israeli government to go to Hezbollah and knock off their leader and take out the guy that was responsible for it. I don't want to hear about apartheid. Those were Israeli children that were murdered and were killed. It didn't matter what their faith was. And we demonstrated that. Let's talk about genocide. Okay? Ask them, somebody that's undecided, about how many Jews were in Israel in 1948 when she was born. The answer is about 700,000. And then ask them about how many Arabs were living in the same area. And the answer is about 160,000, about 20%. Today, there are 6 million Jews. There are 3 million Arabs. I don't want to hear about genocide. It's just not true. The math does not add up. How many Jews are there in Lebanon? How many Jews are there in Syria? How many Jews are there in Gaza? How many Jews in Libya or Iran anymore or Iraq? And the answer is either none or not many, because what? They'd be dead. That's genocide. That is genocide. Not in Israel. I want to talk to you about Judea and Samaria for a second. It's pretty near and dear to my heart. I'm going to ask you a favor, RJC. For those of you that are still carring that area of the West Bank, I'm going to ask you to stop. I'm going to ask you to call it by its biblical name, Judea and Samaria. About 80% of our Bible was right there in Judea and Samaria. In Genesis 23, Abraham says, sell me some property for a burial site here so I can bury my dead. He paid 400 shekels of silver for the cave of the patriarchs. By the way, he overpaid, and Jews don't like to overpay. He overpaid so that nobody would dispute the fact that he owned that land. That was the beginning of the permanent occupation of the land of Canaan for God's chosen people. And of course, Jacob asked Joshua to take it. It was Genesis 47. Please take me to the land where my father's buried. And he made Joshua swear that he would, and Joshua swore that he would. Are you willing to swear that you will protect the cave of the patriarchs where Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Leah, Rachel are all buried? Do you swear to it? I swear to it. Real quickly, can we talk about two states for a second? If there was a Palestinian state, the capital of Palestine would be East Jerusalem. In East Jerusalem is the Wailing Wall. In East Jerusalem is the city of David. How many Jews would be able to live there, pray there, visit there? The answer would be none. This is not an option. The Garden of Gethsemane, where Christians are able to go all the time and walk where Jesus walked, would be off limits. Look, this is not an option, okay? We tried two states. In 2005, the United States government pressured Israel and Ariel Sharon to give up land for peace. How did that work out? They created a Palestinian state in Gaza, and rather than creating another sort of Tel Aviv, they created a launching pad for terror and for hate. It didn't work then. It won't work now. The United States got to stop talking about two-state solutions every time they said Israel's got a right to defend itself. Stop it. And right now, Israel is under pressure. Right now, Israel is under pressure, to be able to have a permanent ceasefire, which means Hamas gets to live. Mark talked about it. The time is right now. There is an opportunity to be able to stand up and be able to actually win this war, to defeat Hamas, to create a situation where new Palestinian leadership. There are Arabs. The Abraham Accords demonstrated this. There are Arabs that love their children more than they hate the Jews. They've demonstrated that through the Abraham Accords. We need to defeat Hamas. We need to set up a situation where other Palestinian leadership can emerge through saying, look, when we defeated Germany and we defeated Japan, did we leave? We're still there right now. And both of those countries are better off from our presence. That's the only way that we have an opportunity to be able to move forward. Two more things are telling me I got to get off the stage. President Trump is waiting. President Trump, just wait a few more minutes, okay? My career is at stake here. This is not helping me a very popular basketball coach, okay? Two more things. Being a basketball coach in the South, I worked in the evangelical Christian community. Thank God for our evangelical Christian friends. Hug them, love them, they stand with Israel. And just so you know who the two most popular Jews in Auburn, Alabama are? Me and Jesus. I also work in the African American community, and I've been blessed to be able to coach and teach, and I've been blessed to be able to be trusted by African American moms and families with their sons. I hold them accountable, we discipline them, we do unbelievable things together. I'm grateful for that. I'm proud of our country for having a President, Barack Obama. I did vote for him twice, and I'm proud of our country for having a woman of color being a candidate for President of the United States. I'm proud of that. However, based on her policies, based on the things that she has said, the things that she has done, I was in the chamber when Bibi Netanyahu delivered that speech. She chose not to. I wish she felt different about Israel, but her actions and her words say that she doesn't. I care about a lot of issues in this country. I don't agree with hardly any of her policies, but the one thing I'm worried about is that she will not stand with Israel. And I tell you who will stand with Israel. Donald J. Trump will stand with Israel. And I am going to vote for Donald J. Trump as the 47th President of the United States of America. Am Yisrael Chai, and God bless America.
Please welcome Dr. Miriam Adelson.
Shalom RNC, RJC. You will hear, we heard all the American Jewish people and not Jewish people, and here I am to represent some voice of Israeli American. I was born in Israel. I was raised as a proud Sabra, and I'm very much, two of my children are living in Israel. My grandchild is serving now in a combat unit. So as a grandmother, I don't sleep at night. And yes, it's when your son is in the army or your grandson is in the army, in Israel or any place, you don't sleep at night well. My claim, everybody here is an army hero, so my claim to fame is that I served in the Israeli army. And I was not in Afghanistan. During Yom Kippur, I worked as a scientist, as a soldier in the Israeli army. But I know how to shoot because I had to study this for a few months, the training period. So even now, lately, I'm starting to think to get license to shoot. I want to tell you, as an Israeli, as a daughter, a first generation after the Holocaust, my parents came from Poland, and most of the family was murdered there. I have something called, I see it on the wall. Everything was clear to me for most of my life. There is a famous song by a German priest, pastor. He said that when the Nazis came and picked the Jews, he was not a Jew, so he didn't say anything. Then he continued, and in the end he said, when they came to take me, to prosecute me, there was nobody there to protect me. There is our famous Elie Wiesel, who was a very good friend of mine. He said that the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference. He remembered how the world was indifferent when they killed Jews. He remembered that everybody loved the President of America, FDR. All the Jews loved him, and he wouldn't let the Jews that escaped the Holocaust enter America. The British mandate in Israel didn't let the Jews come. Just 15,000 were allowed to come. All Europe, most of Europe, wouldn't let the Jews be there. There was the famous St. Louis boat. If you heard, or there is a movie about this boat, I think it's something of the Devil, St. Louis, or Google the name St. Louis boat. 900 Jews boarded this boat. They got permit to arrive to Cuba. When they arrived to Cuba, the Cuban government didn't let them go down. And then they went to New York. Roosevelt didn't let them go down. I think one person jumped from the boat. Then they went to England. And from the 900 people that were on the boat, England took 300, thank God. Then they had to come back to Europe, and the 600 that were left went to the concentration camp, Out of them survived just 300. There is a museum that was following all their names and were telling the people who survive and who know. Why I want to say, look at the United Nations. All these years, we see that they are all the time having special meeting to condemn Israel, just Israel. 134 or maybe more, just condemning Israel. And we all saw it, everything is written. That's what I say, that we don't pay attention what it's going. We don't go to the street. We should have gone to the street much earlier. During the Holocaust, the people should go to the street. Hey, they are burning the Jews, let them go in. But easier to become. And me, as an Israeli and American, I don't like this peace, this indifference of the people. We all have to wake up. So in Passover, most of us here Jews, we are ordered to teach our children about the miracle of leaving Egypt, from being a slave to be released, and to walk 40 years in the desert till we enter the land of Israel. In Passover, and every year since I remember myself, my family in Israel, and later on my family in the States, we are celebrating the Passover. And one of the most famous songs in Passover, I'll say it in Hebrew, I may sing it, והיא שעמדה לאבותינו, שבכל דור ודור עומדים עלינו לכלותנו, והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו מידם. Every generation they are trying to kill us. So we are already warned each year, every generation they are trying to kill us. And God is saving us. Listen, during King David time, there were around 10, I have to be shorter, so I will be more shorter. So just, I want in one sentence, everything is clear, it's known for all the time. We were warned that we will have to fight for our life. We were 9 million during King David. The Chinese were also the same number. Look how many the Chinese are. Look how we are. So we have, first of all, we were warned. We are all the time in danger. Okay? And what I suggest you, register in Google, find it, red alert. The red alert in Israel is warning you where is the alarm. Alarm is going in near Oz, alarm is going in Nahal Oz, and alarm is going in Metula. This red alert tells you rockets are being thrown on this area. So every day, and the world doesn't, one rocket in New York, you know what would be? We had thousands of rockets all the time. Even when I was in Israel, I had to go to the shelter. So our fate is so dangerous. And here we have a president that have already proved that he is committed to Israel, that already proved us that whatever he is promising, he will do. And he sees it deeper. He sees what I see. The world is against us, and we need a good friend. He promised Jerusalem and gave Jerusalem. He promised Golan Heights. He kept, I like to say, promise kept. Okay? He gave us the peace agreement with the Arab, and he gave us the, I say Golan, Jerusalem peace agreement, and he withdrew from the Iran deal. He is our best friend. He will save us. And I'm eagerly waiting for him to enter the White House and to save the Jewish people. They will try to save themselves, but we need America, and we need President Trump, that I am honored to call my friend, and maybe he is honored that I am his friend. So we'll see, Mr. President. The stage is all yours. Thank you.
The Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump will be able to see
Hello to everyone at the Republican Jewish Coalition. And I'm sorry I couldn't be with you in person today, but I look forward to being back with you next year as your 47th President of the United States. Thank you very much. I especially want to thank my friend Miriam. She's an incredible woman. I've gotten to know her very well over the years, but she is an incredible person. And also your chairman, former Senator Norm Coleman, your CEO, Matt Brooks, and all of the members, staff, and distinguished guests at the RJC. Thank you very much. Thank you. As we speak today, we're all devastated by the horrific death of our fellow American, Hirsch Goldberg, and this is so sad to even say, Hirsch Goldberg, Poland. I've been watching the parents, I've been watching everybody talking about it for so long, and it's just so sad to see. And the 5 other innocent hostages slaughtered late last week at the hands of Hamas terrorists. Hirsch was a brother, a son, and an American citizen. After being held captive for nearly a year following the monstrous October 7th attack on Israel, Hirsch was barbarically executed with a bullet to the back of his head. To Hirsch's family and everyone touched by these atrocities, we pray that God will grant you comfort, healing, and peace. And as for the evil savages responsible for these murders, may they never know peace or comfort ever again. Cannot know it. Unbelievably, thank you. Unbelievably, the arrests, and you'll take a look at what's happening with that whole group. Harris-Biden administration has sought to cast blame for these deaths on Israel. They have not been your friends. I don't understand how anybody can support them. And I say it constantly, if you had them to support and you were Jewish, you have to have your head examined. They have been very bad to you. Let me state this very clearly. The blame for these wicked murders lies with Hamas and Hamas alone. Only an evil and inhuman, really inhuman ideology kidnaps, tortures, and murders innocent men, women, and children. And likewise, only a deeply sick political party here in America would make common cause with those who sympathize with such evil, and there's nobody been closer than this group of people, radical left people running for office right now. And they're not going to win because they can't win, because we wouldn't have a country any longer, and then Israel would not have an ally, that I can tell you. And only a morally rotten president and vice president would seek to blame Israel for heinous acts of terror committed against its own citizens. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are a disgrace to your nation and to my nation. If Kamala Harris and crooked Joe Biden are looking for another cause of this crisis, they should do nothing more than look in the mirror. They are the cause. They gave you no support. They gave Israel no support. The October 7th attack on Israel would never have happened if I was president. Zero chance. It was not going to happen. Just like the disaster in Afghanistan would never have happened. And frankly, the invasion of Ukraine by Russia would not have happened. This November, we're going to replace weakness with strength, cowardice with courage and clarity, and war with peace. We're going to tell Comrade Kamala Harris, you're fired. Thank you. And we have no choice in doing so. You'll never survive if they get in. And our country, America, will never survive if they get in. When I left office, America was safe, Israel was safe, the Jewish people were safe, and the whole world was at peace. Under my leadership, we obliterated the ISIS caliphate, 100% done. We did it in 4 weeks. It was supposed to take 5 years. I did it in 4 weeks, and it was done, over. I withdrew from the horrendous Iran nuclear deal and imposed the toughest ever sanctions on the regime. Iran was weak. Iran was broke. They had no money, and they wanted to make a deal. As president, I withdrew from the anti-Semitic United Nations Human Rights Council, which is terrible, absolutely terrible. I defunded the Palestinian Authority and choked off the money to Hamas. And we actually defunded. We were paying them a fortune every year. The United States was paying a fortune. And I said, we're not going to pay. They're not our friends. They're not the friend of Israel. I recognized Israel's eternal capital and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem, something which every president said they were going to do, and they never did it. I got it done, and I also got the embassy built. Somebody else would have never gotten it built. I also recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. The Golan Heights was a big thing. We were talking to a lot of people. I got it done in 15 minutes. They've been negotiating it for 52 years. Nothing was ever going to happen without me. With the historic Abraham Accords, we made peace in the Middle East. We had wonderful support. And had I been president for the remainder of the time that we're talking about, this 4-year period, every country virtually would have been signed into the Abraham Accords, whereas Biden and Harris have done nothing. Nobody signed. So here at home, American Jews felt safe on our streets and college campuses when I was president, and we kept radical Islamic terrorists out of our country. They were out. They weren't allowed to come in. But all of that changed with Comrade Kamala Harris and crooked Joe Biden in the White House. Harris restored funding to the Palestinian Authority and even much more money than they were being paid before, and the UN Relief and Works Agency, which both funnel money now to Hamas, and they funnel a lot of money to Hamas, and nobody knows that better than you. She supported removing the Houthis to a list. We had a terror list that was really very important for them to be on that terror list. And she took them off the terror list, a group whose motto includes the words, death to America, death to Israel, and curse on the Jews. This is their motto. And they don't want them on a terror list. Kamala Harris helped deliver over $100 billion in sanctions relief to Iran. Gave them all the money. They gave them $6 billion for hostages. They gave them money that Iran never expected, never could have made. And now, because of them, in 3.5 years, they've got $350 billion. When I was there, they had no money. They wanted to make a deal. And we would have had a deal very easily if the election turned out the way it should have turned out, frankly. But the regime used to expand its terror brigades and to fund Hamas. Iran was doing that and funding them at a level that nobody thought even possible. Kamala Harris is the candidate of the forces who want to destroy Western civilization and Israel. I am the candidate of those who want to defend Western civilization, defend Israel, and defend, of course, the United States of America. When I'm president, the United States will once again stand shoulder to shoulder with the state of Israel. I will support Israel's right to win its war on terror, and we will win fast. You have to win, and you have to win fast. We will restore stability and peace in the Middle East, and we will be using a phrase that's been used by some very great leaders over the years, including Ronald Reagan, peace through strength. You will have peace through strength. If Kamala Harris wins, terrorist armies will wage an unceasing war to drive Jews out of the Holy Land, and you know it. And we've had a great relationship with Israel, but I can say honestly that we got 25% of the vote. We got 26% after 4 years, after I did more for Israel than any other president by far. And this year, we're probably around a 50% mark. But I only ask you, who are the 50% of Jewish people that are voting for these people that hate Israel and don't like the Jewish people? Why are they? Why are they voting? Why? How do they exist? Iran and its proxies will spread bloodshed and death all around the globe. And as she continues to set the world on fire, Kamala Harris will support unlimited migration from terrorist hotbeds into the United States and will totally abandon Israel. You're going to be abandoned if she becomes president. And I think you have to explain that to your people because they don't know it. They have no idea what they're getting into. You're not going to have an Israel if she becomes president. Israel will no longer exist. When I'm president, we will deport the foreign jihad sympathizers and Hamas supporters from our midst. We don't want them in our midst. Thank you very much. Thank you. If you hate America, if you want to eliminate Israel, then we don't want you in our country. I will ban refugee settlements from terror-infested areas like the Gaza Strip. We will arrest the pro-Hamas thugs who vandalize federal property, and I will put every single college president on notice. The American taxpayer will not subsidize the creation of terrorist sympathizers on American soil. Colleges will and must end the anti-Semitic propaganda or they will lose their accreditation and federal support. No money will go to them if they don't. The Republican Party, we know that militant anti-Semitism and support for terror have no place in a civilized society. They have no place. We must reject anti-Semitism in our schools, reject it in our foreign policy, reject it in our immigration system, and reject it at the ballot box this November. You must get Jewish people or people that love Israel, you must get them to vote for Republican. You must get them to vote for Trump. And if you don't, you're not going to have a country. I am telling you, I've been very good at predicting things. You will not have a country. This is a radical left Marxist that we have running. You will not have a country. With your vote, we will defend our citizens, we will defend our values, and we will defend our country. America and Israel will be respected again. We will deliver low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, and low inflation. We will stop the invasion, end migrant crime, support our police, strengthen our military, build a missile defense shield like you have, slightly larger, keep critical race theory and transgender insanity out of our schools, and keep men out of women's sports in our country. We will defend the Second Amendment, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections. In everything we do, I will put America first. I will keep America safe, and I will work with you to make sure that Israel is with us for thousands of years. We're not going to let go of it. If they win, Israel is gone. Just remember that. If they win, Israel is gone. You can forget about Israel. That's what's going to happen. So they have to get out on November 5th, and they have to vote for Trump. If they don't, I think it's going to be a very terrible situation. We're going to make America great again. We're going to, frankly, help Israel become great again. Right now, what you're going through is horrible, that you have to go through that with all the death, destruction, and waste, and ruining a civilization. You have to go, you have to win, but you need a partner. You can never have that partner if these radical Marxists win the election. So I thank you, And God bless Israel. God bless America. I'll see you soon. Thank you very much, everyone.
Let's make some noise!